You have been assessed, and any injuries sustained during your capture have been designated as non-life-threatening.
Your journey through Enslaved begins rather ominously as you're set free from a steampunk-like pod by a mysterious stranger known as Trip. It's not clear why you're there, or indeed why the stranger has helped you, but like most prisoners suddenly freed from incarceration, you know you need to escape. The dramatic music, procession of explosions and ticking clock self-destruct sequence have all the hallmarks of the intro to an action movie, except of course that you're in control. Though the introduction is heavily scripted, there's still plenty for you to do as you leap across falling platforms, avoid exploding pipework and chase after the stranger who saved you. However, before you're allowed to get too comfortable with the corridor chasing, you're thrust out of an exploding door into the open air, hanging on for dear life.
Slaves report to escape pods.
Escape
Slaves
pods?
rated B and below await further command.
Yep, that's right, it's time to find some escape pods and get off this floating death trap. Of course, you have to work out how to get there, leaping across bits of rusty pipework and clambering up walls. And then there's the enemies.
7 pods remaining.
After more platforming, you suit up with your weapons and take on some mechs. This acts as a battle tutorial, teaching you the basic controls and how your shield works. You're armed with a light staff, which you can use to beat the living hell out of mechs. The hand-to-hand combat feels fluid, with the motion-captured actions of Andy Serkis lending a human feel to lead character Monkey. He also has quite the mean streak, and some of his finishing animations are seriously brutal.
7 launched.
After your less than helpful encounter with the stranger, you have to find another way across to the escape pods. This time you have to make your way across the outside of the craft, leaping from wing to wing. You have more mechs to contend with, though they're little match for your staff weapon. After more leaping, you crash into a familiar landmark, which cues up yet more dramatic music for a final sprint to the escape pod. As the craft begins its descent, post-apocalyptic New York comes into view, with its lush green vegetation and towering skyscrapers. After waking up from the crash, you discover that you've been fitted with a slave headband, and you're not exactly pleased about it. Thanks to Trip's slave headband hackery, Monkey has no choice but to help. But at least the headband gives you a convenient heads-up display containing a health bar, shield, and information on Trip's status. Some more light platforming and mech destruction follows, after which you come up with a plan of action to head to the crash site and pick up your motorcycle. As you wander out into the environment, you get a real taste of the world that developer Ninja Theory has created. Lush green landscapes are peppered with moss-covered skyscrapers and hints toward past events. Later, you learn of Trip's ability to create decoys, which you can use to distract enemies and solve simple puzzles. Using Trip's distraction, you can flank enemies and catch them off guard, making it easier to lay waste to them with your staff. As you'll make your way through the game, Monkey's initially frosty reception to Trip begins to wane, and he begins to care for her. The first time this happens, she asks you to catch a dragonfly, a mechanical bug that she later hacks to scout out enemy locations. She can also use it to identify enemy weaknesses, which makes it easier for you to take down enemies or steal weapons from them. At certain points, you come across strange floating masks, which generate flashbacks featuring none other than Andy Serkis himself. These will play a pivotal part in the story, and we were promised a big twist at some point later in the game. Throughout your journey, you often encounter larger mechs, which you have to fight as a boss battle or special sequence. One of the larger ones is the dog mech, a four-legged monster that scares the living daylights out of Trip when she first sees it. To escape from it, you have to pick up Trip and quickly run away, while the mech destroys everything in its path. Fortunately, it's not exactly the smartest mech out there, and it's easy to escape by simply walking into areas it can't reach. One other trick up your sleeve is the Cloud. It's an electrical platform that allows you to float above water and perform longer jumps. However, it only works in certain sections of the game, so you can't travel around on it all the time. With talent from the likes of 28 Days Later writer Alex Garland and Lord of the Rings actor Andy Serkis, it's no wonder Namco Bandai's Enslaved has the hallmarks of a Hollywood action film. The chase sequences, huge explosions, and voice acting are all of a high quality, and our time in the preview was an entertaining journey through the post-apocalyptic New York City. Enslaved is due out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 on October 8th. Look out for a full review on GameSpot soon.